How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? The arsonist had oddly shaped feet. What? We're on? We're on? Oh, HRS TV, day 2 starts now.
Ow now, brown cow. And yes, we are here, day 2, HRS 2025 in San Diego. And it's really nice when you hit the live sessions with the late-breaking trials. That's where the science comes out. That's what everyone wants to see. Packed ballroom today. Give us a little bit of a sense of what we saw with some of the trials. A lot of simultaneous publications as well. What did you see today?
Well, I saw the Transform AF trial, which is really interesting because it looked at the effect or impact of GLP-1 receptor agonists on patients with type 2 diabetes and AFib. And the thing is, GLP-1 receptor agonists are known to create waves in heart failure, preserved ejection fraction. We use it now in diabetic patients with risk of cardiovascular disease. And what that study showed that it did have an effect on recurrence of AFib, a decreased risk of recurrence, even with modest decrease, with modest effect on obesity. And so it's a marker to tell us that maybe this medication also would work for decreasing AF recurrence, but not just through weight loss. And the other part of it is that I took from that study is that doing a randomized controlled trial is going to be really difficult because of ethical issues, like depriving patients of a medication that is actually indicated in diabetic patients. That's going to be a challenge. And so we'll find out more what the future holds.
And I love that because it's a call to arms for us to get more upstream from therapy, bringing in cardiometabolism. It ties in really nicely with Rob Califf's plenary today, which is that, yes, we need to lobby for what physicians are doing, but more importantly, we need to be part of the global solution of how healthcare is delivered. And for us, it might not be all about PFA. We're all about it and AI, but it might be about getting upstream and really meeting patients there before they even get AFib.
And you know, Rod, I think that was a great study on many levels, like for reasons you said, but it was also a VA-based study. So using the VA high-risk patient population and really utilizing the strength of that EMR to really intervene on an at-need population. So about a 17% reduction in AFib events with modest weight loss, as Nashra alluded to. But I think, you know, an impetus to move forward, potentially maybe out of the diabetic space, because randomizing will be tough within the diabetic
Well, we actually have a randomized study planned of PVI with Ozempic versus PVI alone as well, that we're collaborating with Novo Nordisk. So stay tuned for that. So I think that is exciting, because when we think about substrate modification, we need to think about the whole human and the whole patient. Mehek, what did you see today?
I went to the Pulsar IDE trial, but before I talk about that, I think just to dovetail on what you were saying, you, I think, made this comment when ARREST-AF came out at AHA that this is true substrate modification, right? We have the pathways, we have exactly the targets for blood pressure, diabetes, for cholesterol from Dr. Sanders' work, and now we have randomized data on that. So, you know, as you said, we love PFA, we love AI, but even for AI, it's important to start to use that technology for what is conventionally thought of as low-hanging fruit, but is very high-value fruit, because it's the perfect substrate, no pun intended, for care pathways where you have these very clear guidelines, and patients are becoming more and more comfortable with these technologies as well. So it's a really ripe field to start bringing in these lifestyle modifications using AI and making them really work for our patients and for us. But for the Pulsar IDE trial, new catheter, 122 electrodes, bipolar energy PFA, and you can. What's unique is that you can actually choose which electrodes provide the energy, and one of the most striking features was that there was a 94% durability in PVI veins, as well as very low recurrence of AFib. So more data to come in terms of how it's applicable to the posterior wall or to the mitral line, CTI, et cetera. But the most striking feature was that high freedom from AFib, 78%. And then for those people who did go back for repeat ablation, very high durability in the veins.
Oh, well, great summary. And, you know, Mehek, Rod, I just want to say one thing. I feel like everybody around this table looks so much more trustworthy with these mustaches. I can't help but think that. But we'll change our discussion also in the direction of more PFA. I was also at the Omni IHRE 3-month data. And I think it's a middle footprint catheter. We're looking at a modified point by point. And also they're using a PF index. So combining contact force amongst other metrics for getting a PF index to help guide how can we have durability. And I think the highlight for that trial was really the safety data. It was extremely safe as far from no tamponades, a couple vascular issues. But so, I think moving forward, we'll have to think about how PVI or PFA durability fits in. And I think that was a good step.
Well, what did you see today?
So I was going to touch on option. I think for me, the big take home point was really, I guess, patient selection. And we have to still monitor these patients because those with a higher burden of AF did show a signal of more strokes. And so I think it's one of those things that can't just be like, oh, we're done and walk away. We still need to be very diligent in following those patients closely and doing what's right case by case.
Yeah. And Bo, at the same time, though, the patients that had both appendage occlusion and ablation did just as well as without.
Correct.
As from a stroke perspective and an AFib burden perspective.
Correct.
So that was also very interesting.
Also, one point to mention is that left atrial appendage closure does not mean left atrial appendage isolation. I think that's a really important takeaway point as well.
No.
Well, and obviously in that same session, we saw the leader trial presented by Pugal Vijay Raman showing us that yes, maybe in a combined lead, left bundle area can be achieved with a defib with very reasonable success. And then also saw the extension of Praetorian XL, showing that the long-term results seem very favorable for sub-Q. Is a very viable method of preventing sudden death, right? Oliver, what did you see today?
Yeah, I was going to reference the Praetorian XL, Rod, actually, because it's nice to see, that there was statistically significantly lower rate of major complications in those sub-Q patients, giving us more of a mandate if we needed one to try and keep leads out of the circulation. I think I like the way that the field's going, leadless and non-transvenous ICDs. I think this gives us even more evidence that that's the right thing to do. And hopefully soon we won't burden any patients with transvenous leads.
It is beautiful to think about how much that field has changed and what we learned as fellows, at least some of us, and then what we're doing now. These are things that we were not even trained in at all or never even saw it. Jessica, what did you see today?
I had the great adventure of going to the Hookham Shark Tank AFib, where the competition was stiff, but the candidates did a really good job, basically encouraging us all to use different metrics to get with the guidelines, and they did a really good job. And I also wanted to highlight the allied professionals collaboration that's been going on in the background. There's been a lot of roundtables, people really sharing their experience with each other. It's just been a true
That
joy.
lounge has been standing room
Packed.
only. It's going on right now.
I will say HRS enlarged it from last year, but it's still not big enough. We are showing up in force.
It's a really great allied professional lounge. There's a little bit of FOMO going on right now as well. JC, what did you see?
We got a meeting today about Chagas disease in the United States, different perspectives from Brazil and Latin America and also the United States, because Chagas is spreading all over the world. And we need to know about this disease, trying to make the diagnosis and trying to manage it.
Love that. We're going to see more of that together, maybe in Argentina with Latin America Heart Society, right?
You're going to be a great challenge with that.
Well, I think today was a great day of new science. Stay tuned with all of the in-depth interviews in this booth as we covered the majority, if not all, of the late breakers. We're really looking forward to a day 3 tomorrow. There is a little gala that's coming up, a black tie gala for HRA tomorrow. A lot of exciting stuff. So live from San Diego, that's a wrap on day 2.